The current Hyundai Elantra sedan has been a hot seller in Canada. In fact, it took a run at the #1 best-selling favorite in the country, the Honda Civic. Hyundai executives even tell us that the Elantra was only constricted by the number they could get from the factory.
Zach and I both really enjoyed driving the sedan a few years ago, and you can check out that review on our website at drivingtelevision.com. Now, I also need to point out that the Elantra won both the Canadian and the North American Car of the Year awards last year.
Now we introduce you to the Hyundai Elantra GT, a hatchback that is being brought out to compete with vehicles like the Mazda 3, the Ford Focus, the Toyota Matrix, and even the Golf hatchback.
So with the introduction of a hatchback and a coupe, Hyundai is hoping that the Elantra will be able to compete for the top spot against Honda here in Canada. This Elantra GT replaces the Elantra Touring, which was more of a station wagon. This new model is based on the i30 model that is sold in other markets. Designed in Europe, this stylish hatchback has a similar front design to the sedan, but the overall shape would look perfectly happy on the roads of France or Italy.
Now you got to admit that this is a good-looking car. The accent lines that flow up the back definitely show a sense of motion, but the windows in the back seat are still big enough that kids can see out. The back of the car is a steeply raked hatch, and when you open it up, it's a useful size. But you know what? This car is really all about design and passion. Somebody who's younger, who would look at the sedan and say, that's a little bit too conservative for me, might be attracted to the GT hatchback.
The Elantra GT is not the value leader, the sedan is. It starts at just over $19,000 and runs up just over $26,000. The test car seen here is the SE with auto for $24,349. The interior is on par, if not even slightly larger than a lot of the competition, and it features a usable back seat. The dash of the GT is slightly different from the sedan. As we mentioned, it has its roots in the European i30 design, and this is a copy of that dash. This offers a large area below the radio and heat to store items. It really is quite big. The sedan has a covered storage area. My fiance and I had an opportunity to take this Elantra on a 2,500-kilometer road trip down to Idaho. And you know, it's interesting when you spend that much time in a car, especially 7-8 hours straight in a vehicle, what you notice. Absolutely love the dash in the Elantra. The look and feel of it is top-notch, and I really like the soft touch materials. Now, I have to say as well, my fiance's a bodybuilder, so he's quite a lot bigger than me, and both of us found the seats to be incredibly comfortable. So it's not very common that both of us with very different body types find that in a car, so we were really impressed with the Elantra. Standard features include air conditioning, power windows and doors, USB and auxiliary jacks, Bluetooth, tilt and telescopic steering, height-adjustable driver's seat, and heated front seats. The huge and optional moonroof covers the front and rear seats and has a power cover. The Ford Focus and the Mazda 3 hatchbacks might have a lower starting price, but the Elantra GT comes with standard Bluetooth and heated seats. With the others, they're optional. The engine under the hood is the same one found in the Elantra sedan. It's a 1.8-liter four-cylinder direct injection with 148 horsepower. Now, the Mazda 3 has identical power, but it comes from a larger 2-liter engine, and the Ford Focus has more horsepower at 160. A 6-speed manual or 6-speed automatic are matched to the engine, but the manual is only available on the base GL and middle GLS trim. Our test unit is equipped with the automatic, and it does a good job of getting this car away from a light. Plus, the driver can manually shift the auto from the center-mounted shifter. On our 2,500-kilometer road trip, about 2,000 kilometers of those was on the highway. Now, this Elantra, the power is great in the city, but it would have been nice if there was a little bit more power, especially for passing at higher speeds. But for a little car on the freeway, it did surprisingly well. Quiet interior, very comfortable seats, and amazing fuel economy.
This GT differs from the sedan in the rear suspension. Both have a torsion beam axle in the back, but the GT has an added 22mm sway bar to help keep the car more planted in the corners. But that isn't quite the same extent that other manufacturers have gone to provide good road dynamics. For example, the Ford Focus and also the Mazda 3 have independent suspension all around. This, along with rather soft spring and shock ratings, provides a compliant ride. but one that isn't that inspired compared to others in this class. Now this car has a system called driver selectable steering. It's got a button on the steering wheel. It goes from comfort to normal to sport, and that really only adjusts the amount of effort it takes to move the steering wheel. It doesn't get rid of the dead steering problem that has plagued Hyundai cars for the last few years. This car has electric power steering. It's got no center-on feel, and they really need to adjust that and get rid of that problem if they want to make the next leap up to it being an enthusiast car. For average daily driving, owners might not notice, but enthusiasts will.
So Zach, what do you think of the new Elantra GT?
Well, I think that the European-inspired styling is very attractive. It's a good-looking car. It's also youthful. It'll bring younger buyers to the brand. And the fit and finish, especially on the inside, really is fantastic. Hyundai's doing an amazing job with the interiors of their cars lately. On the downside, it all comes back to the drive. The car looks athletic. It has that European-derived sort of platform, but it doesn't deliver the way some other cars do. The steering is still quite vague. Also, it's got a higher starting price than some of the others. Yes, it's got the heated seats and the Bluetooth as standard equipment, but for some people that bars entry into this car. And the other thing is that the independent suspension found on cars like the Mazda 3, the Ford Focus, and even the new Dodge Dart is not found in this car. What do you think about it?
Well, you know, Zach, I agree with you. I think this car looks great, and it's probably my favorite looking car in this class. I mentioned it before, but the seats are very comfortable. It's got great fuel economy. And yes, you know what? It is a little bit higher starting price, but I like the fact that you do get a lot of extra features. The downside, the only thing that really bothered me was it would have been nice to have just a little bit more power, especially when you compare it to the other cars in the class. And that's it.
You know what, Lacey? The average commuter that's looking for a stylish hatchback car, this is going to fit the bill.
Well, look out Civic, because now that Hyundai has the coupe, sedan, and the hatchback, they've got a lot more Elantras to sell.
Looking for a sports car? See all the reviews of the latest models at drivingtelevision.com.